Hello my friends and welcome to the deployment for Dover. So, just off camera I've taken the liberty of unequipping most of my heroes, repairing everything and shuffling it all away, just like the easy stuff. Because we're going to have to redesign from scratch here. Because this mission is yet another mission that doesn't follow the standard mold. It's you know, it's a beach assault / landing mission, and that means that your standard core is just not going to be that useful here. Okay. So the first thing, of course, is that we have a lot of, we're going to have a lot of aircraft to deal with. Now, I will actually be tempted to take a number of auxiliary fighters as well. Excuse me. But for now, what's important is that we take our standard fighter setup. Now, for the other two fighters, which aren't really going to have any heroes, there's a fair amount that we could do with them. The real question is, you know, do we want to do anything with them? Or do we just want to use them to defend other aircraft? I do have a supply hex airport on this occasion, so I can make fighter repairs. Oh, I just put legendary on because it's got to sit somewhere. Yeah, and I think the answer is no. I think what we want to do with these fighters, really, is just use them defensively, or to pick off crippled enemies, or to pick off units that can't fight back. We'll rely on Bar and Galland to actually get the kills. Now the question is, are we going to use the aircraft carrier or not? I don't think you can host let's put Bar there. I don't think you can host strat bombers on the aircraft carrier though. I think it counts as a dirt airfield. So here I'm putting the fighters in the center of each airport to defend any planes that are there. Now, we have a new excuse me, man. Not running 100% today. We have a new tactical. It's directly superior to the previous one. It's literally a straight upgrade. So I'll take the opportunity to switch them in. Okay. So let's just double check here. These are our strat bombers. Let's take them all. They're not very expensive. Tacticals are expensive. That one's maxed out. Let's leave that one to one side for now. Okay. Yeah, so strats are not functional from the Zeppelin. One thing that's interesting is we have actually received and we can bring this down to say 11 strength. No, let's go with that. We have received as prototypes another set of Dorners. Which are actually slightly worse against ships, but slightly better against all other targets. What we will do is we'll mark them as well. So we know that this is the one. These are the ones that are not fantastic against ships. They're still solid against ships, though. But let's not use any colors that any other planes are using. Let's go with this. All right. Now, I don't really feel the desperate need to add anything in particular to these. Except I'm going to over-strengthen them all to 12. Now, as usual, the main risk is that these holes allow the fighter that's defending the group to be accessed. So we will add some scout planes to fill those gaps. Okay, so with most of our air force deployed, the question is, what do we do for ground forces? And the answer is, we are going to use paratroopers to establish a beachhead and then also fly in support for them. Now the question is, which paratroopers do we want to use, or which infantry do we want to use? So I'm going to pick 3 that have some experience but aren't like ridiculously experienced. This will be a good opportunity to gain experience for these units because they will be seeing a lot of action and they're going to be very overpowered. So we're going to go with paratroopers, no transport, maximum overstrength, and then we want 0 slots for this massive unit. Well, I was actually thinking of dropping some KVs, but I think I'll 0 slot these. No retaliation for this one. Let's go with that. That would be nice and offensive. Okay, for this one, once again, paratroopers, max strength. I'm going to put readiness on this one. And if you're going to have readiness, you might as well have aggressive counterattack. Ooh. So this will be a solid defensive one. We can run unyielding on this as well. Now, on this one, I'm going to run overwhelming attack and envelopment, which is going to make it into a surrender-matic. We'll add first aid to it so it can slowly repair itself. I think we'll over-strengthen this one as well. Now we've only got 3 transport planes. So we're probably going to end up holding more infantry in reserve. Let's bring another one. Let's not go too crazy with this one slots-wise. Actually, yeah. What the hell? These two are going to be the biggest units I use anyway. Let's go with readiness. Reduced slots. And first aid. Okay, so we're going to send our flying support in 2 waves. Now, obviously, I want to support them with anti-air and artillery. For this, I already have a plan. So what we do is we shuffle in an artillery and we'll shuffle in an anti-aircraft gun. Which one should we shuffle in? Let's shuffle in this one. And what we'll do is we'll convert them to something that can be air transported. Oh, we have new toys. The Stug is such garbage. I'm sorry to say. God, the amount of prototype waffles I've got. So the 7.5 centimeter can be air transported. So we're going to bring that, and the 2 centimeter can also be air transported. And what we can do is we can convert these back. So once they've landed, and we take the supply hex, I can convert them back to more powerful artillery as long as I remember to leave slots free. Which is exactly what I'm going to do. So, this artillery, lethal attack, obviously. Ignores entrenchment's a little bit pointless for an artillery. Double strike, so we can really put the hurt on the enemy. Do I need more ammo in range for this thing? Probably a wise idea. Yep, that'll do. As a light artillery, it can actually move 2 spaces and still shoot, which is quite nice. Okay, in terms of the anti-aircraft gun, obviously fast deployment. You can use aiming assistance to help the units near it. We can use leadership to help the units near it. Okay. I've also got these 2 recon bikes, which I was going to send via sea transport once the area is secure. I think that these can be air transported as well. I'm not 100% on it, but I'm pretty sure that these can be air transported. So at the moment I am... Excuse me. My plan is to cut up and take this area with air transports and literally just land via air everything I require. So that means that the old KVs are going to be sitting out. But what we will do is we will set up the KVs. Field repairs, anti-tank. Unyielding, reduced slots, whatever. Let's go with unyielding. You can put reduced slots on this one. Field repairs. Actually, I should probably put reduced slots on something I'm actually using. Ignores zone of control and maybe shock tactics will do. Okay. I'm just holding these to one side. I'm not shuffling them into my army because once I take the supply hex, I should be able to deploy there, so that I can shuffle in what I need. But if I upgrade this to an 88, and I upgrade this to a 21 or a 15 centimeter gun here, I'm actually going to need my slots to do that. Let's send the ones with readiness first. Nope. There we go. The double strike one is actually would struggle to defend itself. So that's my air transports used. So these guys are going to be, all of this equipment is going to be sat here waiting for the air transports to become available. You know what we could do is we could actually just bump this up. I'm pretty sure these can be air transported. I'm gonna be a little bit annoyed if they can't be, but cheap replacements, I guess. I have so many junky heroes, it's not even funny. Right, it's always nice to have one plane that ignores entrenchment. In fact, let's tool up the one that's got the least experience. Fast learner. Since we have reduced slots on it, we might as well. Okay. I need to keep aside... Oof. How many slots is this? 4. 8 centimeters, 12. So I need to keep aside 8 slots, and then another 4, I think, or 3. I think 3. So 12 slots to do these, which is what I've got here. I'm going to do this without using any naval transports if I execute correctly. This is going to be purely a an air offensive. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle this KV into my core, and the reason why is I want to buy some auxiliary planes. Some auxiliary fighters. We're not really going to use many scout planes. That'll do. This may seem like a waste, but these will these will get wrecked most likely. Okay, so the auxiliary fighters are deployed. I can then shuffle this back into my reserve. I've got some heroes left and I'm not really sure what to do with them. Fast deployment. Normally quite useful. However, these infantry are already set up. And I really don't want to take double strike off of that to put fast deployment. Do you know what? We can take a second artillery and we can just keep it. We can just keep it. Do you know what? Actually, it'd be a good test whether we can air transport a Nuremberwerfer. If not, I'll have to convert it. Learns from mistakes, I guess. I'll soon learn if the Werfel is something that we can actually air transport as well, because it's basically superior to the 7.5, apart from the slot cost. The slot cost is obviously, you know, higher. Fearsome reputation only works on a ground unit. So let's put fearsome reputation on this as well. Cheap replacements can go on one of my... I mean, they're prototypes, so they'd be expensive to replace anyway. I'll stick it on Galland. What the hell? Okay. Alright, I think we are pretty much set up and ready to go. Alright, we do actually have a fighter upgrade here as well, which I've overlooked. I like the idea of the Hurricane as well. Because it's got extra ground attack. Well, let's do the comparison. So basically, the Hurricane enjoys superior ground attack, and actually slightly better air attack too. But what it doesn't have is any initiative, and it has limited air defense. Its air defense is okay. What that means is, against other fighters, unless it's got no retaliation, it's gonna get minced. But that four extra anti-tank actually turns it into a reasonably effective strafer of hard vehicles that are not tanks, like you know, anything in a hard transport, recon cars. I guess light tanks, if anyone would be using them, but I doubt it. It's interesting. It's got good utility. But as a fighter, it struggles from having low initiative. And then, of course, there's the Spitfire, which enjoys superior air defense, but apparently worse initiative, which surprises me. So that's probably going to mean that our 109Fs are going to rule the skies here. Okay, and I guess that is it for now. Huh, these units are still... These units are still tooled up. I overlooked a couple. I just noticed it now. I'm keeping these in reserve for deployment once I take the supply hex. Okay, that's some good heroes there. No retaliation is always useful. Before I put that on one of my planes, is there a better choice? That's surrender. What is the slot cost of this? 6. So it would be 12. Okay, no retaliation is actually going to make these fighters just that much more efficient. So hit and run and no retaliation. Okay, that means that every plane now has got some form of no retaliation. So that's really helpful. In terms of no surrender, let's just get rid of this garbage river assault for these two. Let's just on for a laugh and put no surrender on these two. That should help them survive. I have no idea what to do with the river assault heroes. They can just sit on the bench. Bloody useless. I don't even think there's a river on the map. Nope, there isn't. Okay, so that's it for now. Deployment complete. We'll drop our paratroopers in the first wave here, capturing the airport. The moment the paratroopers drop, the planes will be available for loading up the next wave, which will consist of my other paratrooper group, an anti-aircraft gun and a light artillery, and then the rest of it will come over. Our aerial landing group will land here, push into the supply hex, taking the supply hex, and if the supply hex is deployable, which it should be, I can then shuffle the KVs into my army and deploy them. Or I could use my remaining core slots to upgrade my artillery perhaps into 15cm guns, something along those lines. Most of the Air Force has come out today for this, and these auxiliary fighters are going to be there to absorb damage and to just be easy targets for the enemy, thus protecting our real units from any damage, in theory. And I've gone for this strategy because you can just brute force your whole army onto the beach and win there. But with my inability to repair my units, I think losses would be very high. So this is the strategy I've devised to try and avoid losses. So that is where we're at. Okay, that is it for deployment. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.